So it's the first Saturday in a brand new month and a brand new year, 2019. So it's the first mission inspiration project, or the first challenge for a brand new year. So this year we're doing it slightly bit different. Instead of having 8 steps, I'm just including 8 kind of ingredients that you can use in any order. So the 3 colours are going to be the same. Not the same colours every month, obviously. You're going to have 3 colours to choose from, or a 3 colour scheme, 5 words for inspiration to choose from, and 8 ingredients that you can include in any order whatsoever on the page. So this is part of the Mission Inspiration Facebook group challenge. And I'll put the link to the Facebook group on the screen now, and it's also in the description area below this if you want to join in with this year's challenges. So the first Saturday of every month, and then midway through the month there's also a mid-month mini challenge too. So I've already printed off the steps for January, so I'm going to get cracking on my first project for the Mission Inspiration for Jan. So this is the prompt sheet for the month. As you can see, I've already managed to get water on it, just typical for me. So the 3 colours for the month, we've got ruby red, emerald green and amber. So I've pulled out my evergreen paint from Dina Wakley, my ruby paint from Dina Wakley, but because I haven't got an amber that I kind of like in the Dina Wakley range, I've pulled out a cadmium yellow deep, which I think will go nicely with these 2 other colours. So I haven't really decided what kind of word I'm going to use as my inspiration, but I've got my 8 ingredients to include. So to start off with, I'm just going to get cracking with number 1, which is to use old map fragments. So what I've done is I've printed off an old map from my computer. Now this just happens to be of a very, very old map of central London. This is the River Thames, and it's done in grids, so it's going to be perfect to just tear up and use some of the fragments for this. So, and I've just printed it off on standard printer paper. I'm sure, having maps and that kind of stuff is something that people have already got. Old maps, vintage maps, underground maps, railway maps, treasure maps, you name it. You can use whatever kind of map that you want. If you haven't got any old maps to use, then draw your own if you want to. Just literally utilise anything that you want. So I'm going to just tear up some of these fragments, and I'm going to just add these randomly around the page, gluing these down with a little bit of matte medium, and I don't really care which way around they go, up, right, left or whatever. So I'm going to get cracking on sticking these down now, and I'm going to be using some De La Rowney matte medium, and I'm just going to slap some of it down onto my art journal page if I can get the lid off. Ooh, one of those ones. So drop some of that matte medium down onto the page. Now this is watercolour cardstock. It's 300 GSM or 140 pound in weight. Has a little bit of a texture on it, but I'm not really all that bothered about the texture, because most of it probably will get covered over with bits of paper anyway. So just to start off with, let's get some of these map fragments down. So start over here, a little bit of texture with the paper, overlap a little bit, and stick one of those over there. And I'm just going to keep on going and adding on bits. Now when I'm doing art journaling, I don't like to stick things down on a diagonal. It's just one of those aesthetic things, that sticking things down on a diagonal, it doesn't work for me unless it's fibrous. I like to keep things either on a vertical or on a horizontal. It's just it just doesn't look right on diagonals for me. But that just may be one of my little quirks, one of my little eccentricities. And then I'm going to put that one like so. And if I think it needs any more, I'll just grab a couple more. I think I'm going to add one there. I'm going to tear a little bit and add that one there like that. I'm going to add a little one up there. Haven't really got a clear picture in my head right at this very moment in time as to exactly what I want this art journal page to look like. No idea really. I've got my ingredients, not really got a fixed image as to where I'm actually going with this. So I think I'm going to be just as surprised as everybody else when I finish this. So I'll just clear this. I've got a new non-stick heat resistant craft mat as well that I purchased as a little Christmas gift to myself. There we go. Okay, let me get that dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, so while that is kind of cooling down from the heat gun, I'm going to just move that to one side. I'm just going to bring in a little card tag that I've got as well, because I want to include one of these this month. I've still got a piece of that old map that I want to add onto the front of this tag. It's the whiter side of it. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of that matte medium down on the tag, go over with that matte medium and then glue that down. Now while that's still wet, I'm also going to introduce this collage tissue from Dina Wakley. So this is a recent purchase that I made when I went to Art from the Heart. Now I'm hoping that the tissue does disappear and it just leaves what's underneath there. As you can see, it's showing through, so fingers crossed this will form one of my focal points once dry. I just want to get that done now, so just add a little bit more matte medium. Come on. And then make sure that's all nicely sealed in, and then I'll get that dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my little tag is done and dry. My bits of map fragments are all glued down. It still feels a little bit damp, but not too bad and not bad enough to stop working on it. So I'm going to carry on going. So we've got next ingredient, if you like, is to add at least one suggested colour. Now I can do these out of order, so we can add these colours whenever we want to. I've already started to add one of my focal points in from step number 6 or from ingredient number 6, so that's not a problem. So I want to add my first layer of colour down first of all, and I'm going to use the amber. So I'm just going to bring some of the amber paint onto the mat like so, and I'm just going to grab my paintbrush, add a little bit of water to it because it is only going to be a colour wash, and I'm just going to go all the way over like so. Just quick colour wash, and I'm going to bring that in and do the same thing onto the tag. And then you can start adding in deeper aspects, deeper colours if you want to. So I'm going a little bit deeper just down this side, that's still white. Okay, that'll do. So that's the amber added. So again, I need to get those dried off, get this bit cleaned up, and then I'll be right back when I've done that. Tally ho! Okay, so my amber is now pretty much dry on the paper. I'm going to move on to the next one. So it says add stamping. So I've pulled out a Dina Wakley stamp set. Seems only fair seeing as I've been using Dina Wakley collage papers. This stamp set is called Text and Scribbles, and I'm going to use this one, which is like a circular scribble or circular scribble with writing already built into it. So utilising the colours that are suggested colour scheme, I'm going to reach for a deep red. So I've got two kind of reds in archival. I've got vermilion and I've got carnation red. I'm going to go with the darker of the two. So I'm going to just ink up the stamp. I don't know whether you heard Ian sneezing downstairs then. I think that is pretty much the side there. I know sometimes using red ink can look like blood splatters, particularly when it's kind of abstract, but in this case I don't think it will. I'll just go randomly around the page, just in those three areas, so you can see the writing coming through there. And I know I'm going to be covering some of this over anyway with my focal points, so maybe just catch the edge a little bit there, maybe another bit just over there, just up there. I think that'll do for now. So I can put that stamp set to one side, the ink to one side. Again, archival ink takes a little bit of a while to dry, so I'm going to give it a little bit of encourage with the heat gun, and I'll get this cleaned off as well because I don't want to get my elbow on my hand in the red ink, and I'll be right back. Okay, stamping now dry. So moving on to ingredient number 4 we've got. So add threads or fibres. Okay, so I've got some baker's twine. So I've pulled out some of this. It's also a kind of yellowy colour. So I'm just going to pull a strip of this from my little mini skein. And I'm going to utilise this on the tag first of all. So I'm going to thread that through on the tag, and then I've got some double-sided foam tape. I'm going to add just down the sides of that tag. This is quite sticky stuff. It's not my favourite of things to use, but it works. But it just gets everywhere. It's really, really sticky. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to wrap that around like so. A little visit from Ian. Hello.
I've made an espresso. You got an espresso machine for Christmas. Hang on, yeah.
How's this for service? Can you hear my voice is starting
That's
to go
the chocolate
travelling.
one that isn't.
Oh, this is the chocolate one that isn't?
Yes.
Chocolate espresso. Look at this. How's that for service? Can you smell? For those that feel like coffee.
It's not chocolatey at all.
No, it's not, is it?
Anyway, drink that, it's fine.
Oh.
Good for you.
Thank you very much. I shall be running around on the ceiling later.
Okay then.
It's very kind of him, isn't it? Bringing me a nice espresso. Right, so what was I doing? Oh yes, I was going to add the fibres. So I need to take off the back of that. How's Mr. Puppy Dog?
Tired.
Just been out on an epic WALK. So bring that round and then stick that to the back. Bring that round about there. Hoping these will stick in position. That's it. And then back up again. Through and then round. And then I can stick that about there. I'm not going to stick it down completely just yet because I need to add something else to the page first. So well, that's pretty much where it's going to go. So that's the threads. So I want to add my other two focal points now. So I've got the other two pieces that I want to use. One that's going to go there and one that's going to go there. Or at least up there. And this one will go down here. And then this one is going to get stuck in the middle like that. But I want to glue those down first of all. So this is number 6, add a triptych of focal points. Done that one first of all, so I need to add this one as well. So back with that matte medium again. So grab that, splodger that, dry my brush off. And let's have at it. Now, because I've used archival ink, it's not going to move, which is perfect. Like so. If I'd have used water-based one, then as soon as I added the matte medium, it would have just gone everywhere and bled everywhere, and you'd have lost all that definition, which isn't good. So I'm going to put that one there. No. Dear me. There. Sit down, you little monster. There we go. Completely over the top with that medium. Literally going over the top. Make sure we've got plenty on. And then it starts to disappear off into the background. So drop the brush in the water again, get that dried off, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that collage tissue paper is now stuck down. As you can see, it has shown through what's underneath it, but you can still see a little bit of that white from the tissue paper, so it doesn't completely disappear like some of the tissue papers do. But to combat that, I want to add in some of that green. So we've got the reds, we've got the ambers. I'm going to add in a little bit of green over the top on these two sections here. Now I am aware that green mixed with yellow is not going to stay green, but it won't go completely brown either. Let me see if I've got a foam pad somewhere. There we go. There we go. So I've got a little foam pad, ink blending tool, just for a little bit of precision. And I've got green paint, so this is the Dina Wakley Evergreen. This is, we could have scratched that bit of paint off the label. You just have to take my word for it, and I don't want a lot. I don't want a lot at all. I'm just going to spritz it with water, and I'm going to mix it. So I've got a watery colour wash, and I'm just going to bring that in. And that's going to help to disguise that white. It just gives it that nice bit of twinge of colour, if there is such a word. And we just get a little bit of those green tones just in that background. That just pulls everything together. It's very subtle, very light. There. So we've got the three colours. We've got the green, the red and the amber, but they don't have to be in your face. So let's get that dried off quickly. Okay, so my green is dry. It is subtle, you can see it, but it's not in your face. But if that is too subtle for you, then obviously you can add more colour to suit, more colour to taste. So I've decided I'm going to just have those twines on there, on the tag. So I'm going to add the tag now right the way down the middle of my art journal page. Put it about there. So I've now got my triptych of focal points going across at a slight diagonal, but just stepped across the page, which I like. I like the fact that the tag, even though it's raised off, does blend itself into the background a little bit, but we've got that wrapped round twine for added effect. Like it. Okay, so spritz or spray colour onto your page. I've already got the reds, the greens and the ambers, so I want to add a little bit of white. So I'm going to, when it says spritz, that means the same thing as splatter in my book. So I'm just going to add some white splatters. Not many, just a few. So I should have somewhere my little fan brush. A little bit of water. And then I add just a little bit across the centre of the page. Maybe not enough water there, I think. There we go. Just all helps to blend everything into the background, and if your colours you think are a bit too strong, just helps to break them down a little bit. Okay. So there's my little splatters. Get those cleaned up, get that dried off, and then I will be right back. Now, what did I do with that kitchen roll? There it is. Okay, so my white splatters or spritzes are dry on the page. I just want to add one more thing now. So I've got add a phrase, a word or a poem. I'm choosing the word story from the Words for Inspiration, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of that middle tag there. I can find a little pen. So I've got my Pigma Micron pen, it's number 5, and I'm just going to just go around it just to kind of make it pop a little bit. So I've got that, and then the final bit is number 8, is add journaling or handwritten text. Okay, so just before I do all that, I'm just going to make sure I've got everything else done. So I used the word story, ruby, emerald, I used amber, matte fragments, one colour which was the amber, I added stamping, I've got threads and fibres, I splattered rather than spritzed, added a triptych of focal points, there's 3, added a phrase, word or poem, got the word there. So yes, the last bit is to add journaling or handwritten text. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some handwritten journaling along the bottom here, and it's going to be probably illegible, but I don't know what it says, but I will just scribble it down anyway. And that is my handwritten journaling across the bottom, and I think that is everything off the list. All ingredients included, 3 colours and 1 word for inspiration for January 2019. So I hope you enjoyed watching that art journal page come together. I will get around to making a new art journal cover for this year like I did last year. I just haven't got around to doing it just yet. I've had quite a lot going on in my life the last few weeks, just haven't had time to do it, but hey ho, that's a story for another day. So I hope you have enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. But also don't forget, if you want to join in the fun, then I'm displaying on the screen right this very second the Mission Inspiration Facebook group address. Pop along there and you can join in with all the other Mission Inspiration challenges throughout 2018. You'll also find it in the description area below this video too. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. I'm now just going to stick this onto the back of my page. All I need to do is just grab a glue stick. There we go. January sorted. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.